Welcome to Get Cooking at Maggie's Place. Today I am making an easy, very yummy chocolate layered pudding dessert that is great for any occasion, and you will be asked for this recipe again and again. We're going to start out with our flour, and I have a pastry blender here. It just makes it easier for me to blend everything. And I'm going to add a small package, or a half a cup, of pecans, and they're just little chopped up pecans. We're going to put them in first and just kind of mix them up with your hand. And then I've softened a stick of butter, and I'm going to drop that in just portions, like 2 tablespoons at a time. And we're going to mix that in with our flour. Kind of like making a pie, but we've got the pecans in here. And we're going to put a couple more tablespoons in. We'll mix that. What we're looking for is just a crumbly type of mixture, and we're going to press it into our pan and bake it off. It's going to be our crust for our chocolate pudding layered dessert that is an absolute favorite in this house. I came across this recipe a few years ago, probably more like 6 years ago, and it was not really just like this recipe. It was a little bit more difficult. And my children and I went to a lot of functions at our church and schools, things they were doing at school. And this was easy to take with me. I had to bring a dish. Everybody loved it. I never saw anyone else bring anything like it. So here we go. I've pretty much got the flour blended. And what I'm going to do is just use my hands and blend the rest here, so you have an idea of what we're going to be doing. There. Getting all the flour nice and mixed in with the butter and the pecans. I have a 9 by 13 pan here, and what I want to do is take our flour and our pecan butter mixture, and I just want to press it into all corners, just making a thin layer and filling up the pan. It's important you make sure that your flour and your butter mixture is really mixed well. You don't really want to have some dried flour sitting on the bottom of that. That wouldn't taste very well. So you just want to pat it in there. And just make that nice crust. I don't know why, but this crust makes all the difference with this recipe. It's so easy. Cool Whip or whipped topping, pudding, cookies, and this crust just goes well together. And the cream cheese that we mix in with it also. I'm going to press this out, make sure we reach all 4 corners. And then we will put this into a 350 degree oven for about 10 minutes. I would check it in 10 minutes. If it's not lightly golden brown yet, cook it another 5 minutes. While our crust was cooking in the oven, I took 2 packages of cream cheese and I mixed them until they were fluffy with an electric mixer. I set them out to soften just a little bit. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of powdered sugar and give them a bit of flavor. And also at this point right now, if you would like to make this a peanut butter chocolate layered pudding dessert, you could go ahead and add a half a cup of peanut butter in here. And that's as simple as that. Our crust came out beautiful. It has a nice light beige coloring. It's hot, and we're going to add our cream cheese mixture to this, and we're going to spread that as our first layer. Try not to break up the crust. So what I use is just a rubber spatula, and I just want to make a thin layer, go across and spread that out all over the entire. And if you break up the crust a little bit, don't worry about it. There. You can just cover it right back up with the cream cheese. And there we have it. And yes, the crust did break up in a few places, but you'd never know it. It's not going to show. And this is also why you want to soften that cream cheese up to make it spread evenly and easy. I put about 10 Oreo cookies, or whatever type of chocolate cookie you prefer, into a food processor and crumble them up kind of fine. And what you want to do in between layers is add a bit of those cookie crumbs. It just adds a nice flavor, a little bit of crunch. If you'd like them to be a little bit bigger, go right ahead. And then our next layer is going to be our chocolate pudding. And I mixed up a box of instant chocolate pudding, according to the box, with the 3 cups of milk. And then I put it in the refrigerator and let that set up a little bit. And this is really good that you can do all of this while your crust is cooking and cooling. And that way everything is waiting for you. You just want a nice layer of the chocolate pudding. And this spreads a lot easier because the cream cheese is holding the crust solid. And wow, what great flavor this is going to be. It is so cool and refreshing. There. Now we have our chocolate pudding spread out. And if you want to have more chocolate pudding, if you have a deeper dish, go ahead. Probably 2 packages would do you just fine. And we're going to add a little bit more of our cookie crumbs over our chocolate pudding. Yum. There. And then for our top layer, we're going to add our whipped topping. I'm generous with this. I love whipped topping. And again, with our rubber spatula, we're just going to make it a layer. Just kind of push it down and spread it out. Oh, this is so good. Great dessert for the summertime. It's very cool and refreshing. And you don't have to serve a whole lot in one serving. It is filling, but it is delicious. And we're going to sprinkle with the rest of our cookie crumbs. Just generously pour them on all over. There you have a beautiful chocolate pudding layer dessert. Or remember, if you add the half a cup of peanut butter in with your cream cheese mixture, you are going to have a chocolate peanut butter layer dessert.